Everybody. Welcome to the first official live stream of Flagrant Foul Fridays. As you may know, if you continue to watch our episodes, we have a special segment for the new people. We're going to do some NBA player team association game. Like LeBron, do you associate him with the Lakers, the Cavs, or the Heat? And where do you think he'll be associated when he retires? Got some more World Cup news. We're getting closer and closer to the end of the World Cup. The NBA, we have a lot of trade news, signing news. College football, we have a lot of New Jersey updates. NFL, we have very little news, but we still have news there. So we hope you guys enjoy and stick along for the ride.
Yeah, so let's get right into it. Although we should probably introduce ourselves, don't you think?
Yeah, we can do that.
Well, I am Christian. I am one of the hosts, and my
Yeah,
co-host
my,
today is Nick.
yeah, Nick as always.
So, obviously this is our first ever stream, so you guys will have to let us know in the comments or I guess the chat if there's any audio issues or whatever. And we're gonna try to keep up with the chat. It's hard to, you know, read the news and also keep up with it, but we're going to do our best and try to even respond to some of the chat if it's sports related and whatnot. So feel free to ask us questions. Feel free to chime in if you agree or disagree with what we're saying. And without further ado, we're going to get right into our special segment. So, like Nick said, it is the NBA Player Team Association game. Kind of a long name. I don't know what else to call it though. And I don't know about you, Nick, but I thought when we do this, I think we should just go with whatever the first team that pops in your head is. Even if you maybe don't normally associate them, I would say whatever pops into your head is probably what you subconsciously associate with them. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay. And if you want to chime in on like why that popped into your head, that's perfectly fine too. So let's get right into it with our first player, Kawhi Leonard. I'm gonna say the Spurs.
Yeah, I was also going to say the Spurs just because that's where he was for the longest time.
Yeah. And I mean, it's not like he didn't have success there. If he had no success there, even having 1 year, in Toronto winning that championship, I feel like there's an argument that he would be associated there. But for me personally, I feel like he was in his best at the Spurs. He was on the 2K16 cover with other players. My brother
Oh,
said
first thought
Toronto.
was Toronto.
I mean, that's fair. I get it.
I can see that because he's a one and done player at Toronto.
But the weird thing is he was at the Clippers for quite a few years, and yet I don't think anyone I've talked to associates him with them. In fact, some people forget he even played for them, even though he's been there for what, like 5 years or so?
Yeah, he's been there a long time.
Speaking of which, we're going to get into this later, but his trade might not actually go through because of the legal issues on the Clippers. All right, Nick, who's next?
Next player on our list is Kevin Durant, and this one's kind of weird because I kind of associate him with the Warriors.
Yeah, my head immediately went to the Warriors, but when I was thinking about this when we first made this list, I didn't try to ponder on much of these. I just coincidentally thought of it. I actually thought of OKC first. Um, I don't know. I feel like KD's weird because to some extent I almost associate him with the Nets because of like how much of a failure that team was. But I feel like the Warriors make sense because he did have success there and it also caused all that drama. Um, but I'm kind of 50-50. I feel like I flip between OKC and the Warriors with him.
I almost forgot he played for the Nets,
Really?
but yeah, I would associate him with either the Thunder
Well,
or even
see,
the Supersonics
I think the reason
because he's the last player.
I think the reason I think of him as a Nets player sometimes is just because he left the Warriors and he kind of cemented that he kind of needed people to win a championship. And
Hmm.
and so that's why I feel like, in a sense, for me, he kind of impacted my brain more so than him actually winning a championship. Because I mean, Curry already did it before he was there, and then Curry did it after too. So in a sense, I feel like that almost made it where his time on the Warriors gets a little less focus.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Suns legend.
Yeah, I forgot he played for the
I
Suns
I
too.
forgot too.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, that's
All right.
crazy.
And our next player, LeBron James. I gotta go Cavs here.
Yeah, Cavs is almost too memorable.
There's definitely an argument for Miami, especially if you were watching the NBA for a long time. For me personally, I only really got into basketball around the time that he was on the Cavs, so that's what stuck in my mind. And what surprises me to this day is how long he's been at the Lakers. I sometimes forget that he's been there since what, like 2019-ish? 2018 maybe?
I think 2018.
Yeah. So, so is you said Cavs also?
No, it was 2019 because he played 1 year and then AD came from.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I said Cavs just because that's when I started watching was that 2016 finals run when they came back and won 3-1.
Yeah, that's fair. Who do we got next?
Next we got Kyrie. Now this one's kind of weird. I kind of got to go Cavs again here just because that's where he was when I started watching.
Yeah, I I don't know why, but for whatever reason, the Celtics really sticks out to me. Normally, I 100% am with you. I would go the Cavs, but I feel like the Celtics is where he really cemented the fact that he's a good player. He doesn't need LeBron to be a good player. Now, yeah, he didn't win a championship with them, but I still feel like on the Celtics, he showed that he could be like the number one option on a team.
Hmm.
And honestly, I forget that he's on the Mavs, but partially that's because of injury.
Right. Yeah.
All right, next up, we got Anthony Davis. I'm gonna go Pelicans. Sorry. I know a lot of people would not say that, but I just feel like him being on the Pelicans is so cemented in my brain from playing 2K16.
I think it's kind of hard because he played with LeBron, won his first championship with the Lakers, but the brow in New Orleans was like where it all started. So it's kind of weird. I think I have to go to Lakers just for the fact that that's how that's where he really began to pick up his. I guess I don't even know how to say it. He just became like more popular in my opinion because he was on a relevant team.
He probably was injured the least on the Pelicans though,
Yeah, he was injured the least on
which
the
is kind
Pelicans
of
for
that's
sure.
kind of weird. But no, I would agree. I would say he wasn't super popular until he left the Pelicans. All right, James Harden. Got to be the Rockets.
Yeah, I'm gonna go the Rockets as well, just because MVP seasons, the double step backs.
I mean, he had rules changed because of him.
Yeah,
And, you know, he was battling out with Curry for years. Um, he went through a lot of weird team iterations. Like we had that 3-point only team where they would shoot like almost exclusively three-pointers. So, yeah. And honestly, just him in that jersey sticks out. But I will say the Nets is pretty close because again with like that KD thing, it kind of cemented a bad image on these players and it kind of sticks with you. All right, who's
yeah,
next?
I think that was one of his worst times because they barely played together.
Yeah.
So our next player is Cat. And honestly, I can't put him anywhere else than the Timberwolves.
I thought I would go Timberwolves, but I cannot picture him like not in a Knicks jersey currently, which is weird because I really haven't watched him play on the Knicks a ton. I just think him winning that championship recently kind of puts that jersey fresh in my mind. But any other day, probably, yeah, I'm going with the Timberwolves. Me and you, we've talked about this before. A lot of people are not huge Cat fans, but I believe me and you have been pretty consistently fans of him since he was a rookie, right?
Yeah.
Again, like 2K16, that was his rookie year. And I remember, you remember how like when you were like loading games, they would show like those interviews and stuff for like
Hmm.
my park. I felt like,
Yeah.
um, I felt like Cat got interviewed quite a bit that year. And so, yeah, I would agree. I don't know why I'm not going Timberwolves. It's probably just recency bias, but do you think if he stays on the Knicks for a couple years, say he even wins another championship, it might change people's perspective on that?
I think it could, just because he didn't win a championship on the Timberwolves, which is sad because it would have been cool to watch him win a championship. He's probably one of my top five favorite players in the NBA.
That's fair. All right, next we got Paul George. And I'm gonna go Pacers. Clippers is close. It's close.
Yeah, I almost forget that he's on the 76ers sometimes. And now he just got sent to Boston.
So who would you say?
I'm going to say, let's see, who all has he played for? Really,
Timberwolves,
the Pacers come to mind, or the Thunder.
OKC. Yeah, he was on the
It's between the
Timberwolves, right?
Pacers and the Thunder. I don't think so.
No, maybe not. You don't think of him as a Pacer?
I thought I said Pacer
Oh, I
or
don't know what I'm. You did.
I was gonna say I thought I said Pacer or
I
Thunder.
I didn't play 2K17, but I remember that cover.
Yeah, I remember that cover too. But I think my first 2K was 2K16.
I feel like after he left the Pacers, he kind of fell off a bit. Statistically, not really, but I would feel like in the mind of the fans and playoff success and stuff.
Right.
All right, next up, DeMar DeRozan. I'm going Bulls.
I'm gonna say Raptors just because of that Kawhi or not that Kawhi that DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry team
I kind of forgot he
that
was
started
on
the
the Raptors.
LeBron toe thing.
Yeah, I kind of forgot he was on the Raptors. I always forget he's on the Kings as well, although now he's a free agent. I don't think he got signed anywhere yet.
No, not
I
yet.
heard the Warriors might pick him up. But
I don't.
honestly,
I've also heard that the Raptors could potentially go after him again.
yeah, I heard that too. I think he's a pretty underrated player. He is very healthy usually. He has very rarely missed games due to injury. In fact, I believe he has more total career points than Curry, and that's in large part due to his health because he's not shooting threes at the same rate as Curry.
Yeah, your brother just said the Spurs, and I was about to say the
Oh, I
Spurs
forgot
because of the
about that.
Kawhi trade, because he got traded to the Spurs for Kawhi.
That's true. All right, and our last player, Marcus Smart. It's got to be Celtics for me.
Yeah, Celtics or the Lakers. I really can't think of him anywhere else.
It's kind of weird because he had such a quick like rise and fall in the NBA. I feel like he was like he kind of came out of nowhere and was
He's like one
like,
of the top defensive
yeah.
guards.
And then now he's kind of bouncing around the league as like a good option for like a big trade package. It's like I'll throw this guy on top of this, you know.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I really can't picture him in any other jersey other than the Celtics because I feel like after that he didn't get as much playing time and stuff.
Yeah, he's more of like a role player, whereas in Boston he was a starter.
Yeah. Well, that's all we got. Um, let's move on to the World Cup segment. So continuing from last week, we have a little bit more of the round of 32 games to cover. So Belgium and Senegal played, and Senegal scored the first two goals. And then in the 86th minute, Belgium scored their first goal, followed by another goal in the 89th, and then a third goal to win the game in the 120th plus 5 minute of the game because of extra time. And that was a penalty, but it was such an insane comeback. I was watching part of it and I saw they were down 2-0. I was like, well, I guess that's it for Belgium. And they came back and won. So pretty impressive.
And then the U.S. beat Bosnia and Herzegovina.
One of these
To,
days you will get it.
well, I don't have to worry about it for 4 more years now.
That's true.
But the U.S. won 2-0, which we will find out later that sadly that was the last win for them.
Yep. And this actually was this sorry, the US coach became the coach with the most all-time wins by a US manager in the men's FIFA World Cup. And also, Balogun got a red card, which is a huge loss for them going into the Belgium game. But we're going to cover more on that later because there was a development, to say the least, I guess. I will say though, uh, there also was two goals that didn't count because of offsides. So the fact that the US won 2-0 with two goals disallowed and they were down a player in the 64th minute onwards showed a lot of heart by them. And I thought going into the Belgium game, you know, they might actually do well. But we'll learn more about that later. This also after that game, it was the first time since the inaugural World Cup in 1930 that the U.S. men's team had multiple shutout victories in the same World Cup. That was against Australia and then Bosnia. It also was the most watched soccer telecast in the English language in US history, with 24.429 million viewers. I think that's only on Fox, though, so there was definitely more than that when you consider Telemundo and wherever else it was streaming. Peacock, I think, maybe? I don't know. Well, I don't know why it would be on Peacock if Fox owns it, but whatever.
And then Spain ended up beating Austria 3-0 in the first round.
Of 32. Yeah. And Portugal beat Croatia 2-1. And I believe this is Luka Modric's last World Cup, which is kind of sad. He made it all the way to a final one year when Croatia had that crazy run. I think it was 2018. Unfortunately, they just could not get it done.
And then Switzerland beat Algeria 2-0.
And then Egypt and Australia was tied 1-1, but Egypt ended up winning in penalties.
Argentina beat Cabo Verde 3-2. And really they kind of scraped by. They ended up going into extra time and then ended up winning off of an own goal.
And I don't remember if it was this game. I might be confusing it with a different one, but I believe Cabo Verde's player that had the own goal had like a head injury earlier in the game. So some people theorized that he actually had a concussion that might have led to the own goal. But regardless, I will say this is Cape Verde's first ever World Cup, and I thought they did very well. So definitely a team to watch in the next, I don't know, 12 years or so. We'll see if the youth can continue to develop and stuff. Also, speaking of own goals, this is now a new record for the most own goals in a World Cup tournament. The previous record was 12 in 2018, and at the time of this, it was 13, although I wouldn't be surprised if it's more than that now. But I will say it should be noted that with like technology and replays, I'm sure there's a lot more goals that get labeled as an own goal because we can actually see now that it was an own goal versus in the past it was so fast or whatever. They would just kind of assume the person kicking it got the goal. So that's worth noting, but regardless, we're still seeing a ton of own goals.
And then Colombia beat Ghana 1-0 in the first 14 minutes.
Yeah. Now moving on to the round of 16, Canada lost 3-0 to Morocco. And Morocco became the first African team to reach the quarterfinals in back-to-back World Cups in World Cup history. So that's pretty cool to see.
France won 1-0 to Paraguay with Kylian Mbappe having a penalty kick for the win. Uh, as Christian noted on this, it was a close game and raises questions about France, but they did have way better stats.
Well, like the US beat Paraguay 4-1. So when I saw this, I was like, dang, if we can beat Belgium, we might actually have a chance, even if we have to play Spain or France in the future. Um, that's what I was thinking going into this. But as we will learn, the US did not get that chance, and France kind of bounced back, and they looked pretty dominant again. But we have to report something kind of crazy after this game. Um, I saw this all over. Uh, a Parag a Paraguayan senator, Celeste R. Marilla, uh, said some racist insults and comments directed at Kylian Mbappe following the game. Uh, so this was like on her Instagram, I think maybe even Twitter. She just like straight up posted this stuff. So here's a couple quotes from her, and I had to kind of filter some of this because some of the stuff she said in like later interviews was quite bad. But regardless, here's some of the stuff she said. This brute hasn't even learned to write. Instead of breast milk, he grew up sucking on coconuts, and the most educated creatures he has ever heard were chimpanzees. You should have given him the middle finger. And then she also said, a colonized Cameroonian pretending to be a French, resentful, newly rich, arrogant, and ugly. He was nervous and scared to death all game, like his whole team. They didn't even manage to score a single goal until they got lucky with a penalty. And then she also said, the only thing many of us blame the team for is not giving him a full-handed slap at the end of the game. I'm not even a football fan. What do you think, Nick? Racist or not?
Well, I would say she went a little further than racist. She like,
Yeah.
geez.
So do you want to read Kylian Mbappe's response to her?
Yeah,
I
somebody
I thought
commented that your mic is kind of low.
okay, I'll try to work on that while you read this.
So Mbappe responded by saying, Madame Celeste Amarillo, you are a despicable woman and unworthy of your position. You do not represent Paraguay, that country which has sweated passion and honor throughout the competition. Through your recklessness and your brazen racism, the entire world has already forgotten the journey and the historic effort that your players accomplished during this World Cup, making way for an incompetent woman who gives the worst possible image of her country. I will never allow people like her the freedom to spread their hatred and racism across the world.
Yeah, I thought that was a pretty good response from him.
I mean, at least he didn't go back at her and start bashing her. He just gave like a professional response.
Yeah. Uh, I don't know if I can turn up the mic anymore. I'll have to look into that for another stream. We apologize. Uh, okay, and then here's an update on this situation. She actually, after he responded, warned that she might pursue legal action if he did not withdraw his remarks. And she said, and I quote, "Who are you to call me unworthy or despicable when you don't even know me?" She wrote, "This is pure gender violence and political violence against a woman who reached her position through the popular vote of her people." What do you think, Nick? Gender violence or not?
Well, given I saw her response, I would have to say no.
Yeah. So then the French Football Federation actually announced that they are filing a complaint and they're going to begin legal action. And then I saw that she's like mentioned that they're not even involved in this, they shouldn't be doing that. And then later it came out that after a 5-hour debate in the Paraguay Senate, they passed a majority vote to motion condemning the senator of racist remarks. Um, I also saw later she made like an apology. She's like, "Yeah, what I said was racist." And then she goes on to say, "But," and then I can't say what she said, but let's just say she wrote the N-word in her comment. She was basically saying like,
Oh my
she's like,
god,
"But we grew up saying this." So,
that's crazy.
yeah, so I don't think from what I looked up that this condemning actually affects her like remaining in power or anything, but it's a way of saying that the Senate doesn't agree with her actions. So I wouldn't be surprised if, she gets fired or something later. I don't know exactly how their government system works. Um, but yeah, I'm guessing this is probably not done.
That's crazy. Over a soccer match.
Yeah. And you know what's funny? It was 1-0. She easily could have just said like how happy she was for their team. This game easily could have been like a 4-0 win for France, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah,
So moving on to our next games in the World Cup, Norway beat Brazil 2-1. Uh, Erling Haaland scored two of the goals for Norway, and Neymar scored his last goal in the World Cup with
yeah,
10 extra minutes with a penalty.
which we're gonna talk about a bit. I kept notes as I was watching this game because it was kind of a crazy game. A lot of random things was happening. So, in the third minute, Norway had an offside goal disallowed. Then, in the 13th minute, Brazil had a penalty saved by the Norway keeper. Uh, and then in the 60th minute, Brazil had a chance to score like 1v1 and he just messed it up for some reason. He like refused to take the shot with his non-dominant foot. And then Neymar subbed in the 69th minute, which was kind of a big deal because he wasn't really playing much at all this World Cup. And then 79th minute, Holland scored. He was kind of silent the whole game, as he usually is. He doesn't really do much other than kind of lurk. He's kind of scary. He just walks menacingly, and then out of nowhere he'll score. You know.
I saw
Uh,
some people make comments that he looks like a lion out in nature,
yeah, he really
looking
is.
for his prey.
Uh, and Messi is known for kind of walking and doing that too, but he's always paying attention. But the thing that separates him from Messi is he's a much bigger header threat. So he's like even more explosive, I think, and faster. Um, But one thing that people noticed is that Brazil was playing extremely defensive and like only counterattacking, which is super unusual for them considering they're known for like, flashy moves and very fast-paced offense. So some people are criticizing the coach if this was a decision he made. Um, and then in the 85th minute, Brazil had a pretty easy goal, but he didn't pass it on the ground, so Neymar couldn't hit it. It literally would have been a chip-in shot, like an inch away from the goal. And then in the 89th minute, Holland scored again. It was pretty far. He just shot it super low and hard. Um, yeah, and then a fight broke out towards the end of the game. Not like a fist fight, but they got into it. And then in the 90th minute, uh, Neymar and the goalie were talking smack as Neymar was taking the penalty, and then Neymar scored pretty easily, and then the game ended. And at 34 years old, Neymar is now the oldest Brazilian to score in a World Cup match, and this is also his last World Cup, which is pretty sad. This is a lot of people's last World Cup that we've loved for years. Also, at the end of this game, Mbappe, Messi, and Haaland were all tied for 7 goals. And now I think that's up to 8 goals each. I'm not sure if Haaland has 8, but I know Mbappe and Messi do. This is also the furthest Norway has ever made it in the World Cup, the quarterfinals. And Norway had 7 World Cup goals all time going into this World Cup. But after this game, Holland alone had 7 in this World Cup, which is kind of crazy. This is also the earliest Brazil exit in a World Cup since 1990. And then a quick update on the Balogun situation. It came out a few days later that the FIFA disciplinary committee would suspend the red card. Uh, they implemented this rule that's I looked it up. I think it's been around since like 2002, but it hasn't really been used like really at all. Um, so he actually got to play again in the Belgium game, and this was a huge plus, for the U.S. But I will say it created a ton of controversy online. Um, to make matters worse, President Trump he reportedly called FIFA, the CEO, and asked them to like get rid of this. But from my understanding, they already were reviewing it and probably done with it by the time he called. So I don't think he actually had any influence. But, people see that and they're gonna think it's corruption regardless. So I actually think that made matters worse. Um, and yeah, it just caused a ton of drama. I really think it was a lose-lose situation, right? On one hand, almost everybody, not everybody, but almost everybody, thought that it wasn't a actual deserving red card. So it felt unfair that he was going to have to miss the next game because of something that shouldn't have happened in a lot of people's eyes. At the same time, reversing it that late, I think it was like a day before the game, that sucks for Belgium because they're already prepping, expecting him not to play. And, it kind of feels unfair. So it really is a lose-lose situation. Um, but I don't think it ended up mattering that much because, as we're going to find out, the US sucked.
I did want to add to your Brazil thing like 20 minutes ago, about their exit being the earliest since 1990. That goes to show like their dominance over that whole time period.
Yeah.
Because that's the quarterfinals at
Well, and
least.
what's funny? During this time period, many people thought Brazil was kind of bad. That kind of goes to show how high a standard their fans hold them to. That they can make it pretty consistently far every year and still be considered struggling. And the next game in the round of 16 was between Mexico and England. And I have to say, I am so glad I watched this game live because this was my favorite game of the tournament so far. Um, England scored twice in 2 minutes at the 36th and 38th minute. It was Jude Bellingham. And then Brazil scored 4 minutes after that. And then Harry Kane had a penalty, so it was 3-1. And then Mexico had a penalty, and it was 2-3. And then, oh, actually, before that, in the 54th minute, before Harry Kane even scored, England had a red card. So they were playing pretty much half the game down a man, and they still held on to win the game 3-2. It was insane. And this actually was uh, Mexico's first ever loss at Estadio Azteca in the World Cup. They were previously 8-2-0 before this game at that stadium. And what made things even crazier is, so Jordan Henderson, a player for England, got a yellow card on the bench. Just, I think he was talking or something and the ref heard it. But after the game, he was like climbing over those barriers that they have around the edges, and he slipped, fell, and broke his arm. So he is now out for the rest of the World Cup. It's pretty rare that you see a non like in-game or practice injury, especially to this severity. So yeah, just really a wild game altogether. And it started an hour later because of I think lightning or rain or something.
And then Spain beat Portugal 1-0, and so that ended Ronaldo's World Cup run and his career in the World Cup.
Presumably, yeah. I could see him coming back, but I'm pretty sure he's made it clear that he doesn't plan on it. And then we're to the long-awaited game. USA versus Belgium. Complete disaster. Belgium won 4-1. Almost every goal that Belgium scored was because of a really stupid mistake that the US made for no reason at all. For example, Matt Freese, the goalkeeper, came out of the box, went to kick the ball, hesitated, and then gave up the ball. If he would have just kicked it, even if it wasn't a great pass, he would have prevented a goal. Uh, Also, I thought Tim Ream was garbage. We got to stop getting MLS defenders because they are garbage. Also, Christian Pulisic lost 11 possessions in 45 minutes, and then he got injured and he left. I was literally telling myself, if I see this guy dribble one more time and lose the ball, I am actually going to lose it. And he proceeded to do it 11 times. I
That's
felt,
crazy.
I literally felt like I was watching us play soccer, Nick, because we would give up like 11 goals a game. I'm like, what are we doing?
Just like completely outed us online.
I don't care. It's true.
Yeah, it is true.
I- this is actually some of the worst soccer I've ever seen.
Although I will say we got better the second season.
And it's
We got
like
lost by 5 goals.
we actually looked okay at times. We actually had better possession at times and better attacking runs. But almost actually maybe even every goal that we gave them was from a stupid mistake defensively. It makes no sense. And honestly, every player on that team should be embarrassed. But on a bright side, we had a lot of viewership, so hopefully the next couple of generations can redeem us. But I also think Belgium kind of had motivation after that red card stuff.
And then Argentina scored 3 goals to Egypt's 2 goals, winning the game in extra time. And they were actually down 2-0 up until the 79th minute.
Yeah, and I was at work, so I didn't get to watch this game. But I was like, I had the score on my phone, and I was like, 2-0 Egypt? What is happening? And I'm like, is this how Messi's gonna go out? And they had a crazy comeback. I saw that after Messi scored, he scored the second goal to tie it. He like was jumping, you know, air fisting the air. Is that what it's called? I don't know. Anyways. He was like screaming, which is crazy. He never has emotion like that. So you know that this World Cup means a lot to him as his last. Uh, so yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Argentina can keep the momentum going. And then Switzerland and Colombia were tied 0-0, and they actually went to penalties where Switzerland won 4-3 in penalties. So both teams maybe not going to go much further. Well, I guess Colombia can't. But yeah, neither of them looked great.
And then, according to multiple reports, the Argentine Football Association is under investigation by the FBI and U.S. federal prosecutors over allegations involving possible money laundering and financial irregular irregularities. I don't know why that
Words
was
are
so hard
hard.
to say. I don't know why that was so hard to say. Connected to its business operations in the United States. The investigation reportedly focuses on how hundreds of millions of dollars flowed through the American financial system and whether any transactions may have violated U.S. law.
And apparently, U.S. authorities opened a preliminary investigation back in 2025, and the initial findings reported that 230 million pounds, I don't know if it was in U.S. dollars, but a lot of money, in Federation revenues was handled by Tour Prod Inter LLC through 5 U.S. bank accounts. So there's not, 100% evidence that anything illegal is going on, but I think the fact that they're investigating it is something to keep an eye on. And I don't know entirely what this means or what the, penalties of this would be. I would imagine they might not um, be allowed in the World Cup for the next couple years or something. But, definitely something to keep an eye on. And I don't know if like they would be able to uh, revoke their World Cup win if they win this year or what. But definitely seemingly a big deal since the FBI is involved.
Yeah, so is that like for the World Cup itself, or is that for like Messi, or what is that about?
Um, I didn't look into it too much. I think it just has to do with the way in which they're like handling their money and like getting money within the US. So it's probably just like kind of sketchy stuff that triggered an alarm. I don't think Messi is necessarily involved, but rather the, Argentine Football Association as a whole.
And the quarterfinals started today.
Yesterday.
France, oh, yesterday, and France won 2-0 against Morocco. Mbappe had a goal, and Dembele had a goal.
Yep. So yeah, bounce back from France. And then today, Spain played Belgium, and Spain won 2-1. Spain's been kind of low scoring, but they've allowed. This actually might be the first goal they've allowed all tournament. So definitely a team to watch.
Hmm.
So tomorrow at 5 p.m., Norway plays England, and I think it's going to be an absolute banger of a match. England has a couple players on yellow, so it could be, I don't know, who knows. But if Norway, man, if they win that, that's going to be insane. And I have to say, after the US got knocked out, I think Norway's going to be my team to root for, followed by probably England. But I really like at least a couple players from every team, so I wouldn't be too mad if any team won.
Well, you kind of have to make a decision because Norway plays England.
Yeah, I know. It sucks. But it's like for me, Norway's that underdog story, and I love that. And I love Holland. I love a couple of their other players. But in general, England's always my like go-to secondary team beside the US because, there's so many good players for England, and I love the Premier League. So you know what? I think I'll root for Norway that game. But if England wins, so be it. I'm not gonna be upset. And then Uh, also tomorrow at 9 p.m., Argentina is playing Switzerland. And so France and Spain will play Tuesday at 3 o'clock. And then the winner of Norway England will play the winner of Argentina Switzerland on Wednesday at 3 o'clock. And then after that, it will go to the championship. I'm
Mhm.
predicting it will probably be France and probably Argentina, to be honest. I want to say England, but I feel like they're probably going to get a red card or something that's just going to hold them back.
Now moving on to everybody's favorite segment, Ball in Order. So we have an update from last week. As we mentioned last week, on Arnold was being arrested and he got let go of the lines. Well, now they're saying that he does not need to wear a GPS tracker as a condition of his release, allowing him to continue to work out with NFL teams in an effort to get re signed after being cut. So Arnold turned himself in on June 24th, as a little bit of background, in connection with the February 2026 kidnapping and robbery incident in the Tampa area. He is currently out on a $1 million bond and is subject to home confinement with the exception of work and legal appointments. The Hillsborough County State Attorney's Office filed a motion to reconsider the terms of Arnold's bond conditions after the Lions cut him last week. Prosecutors argued that Arnold is no longer in the unique position of being an NFL player, which is a substantial change in the circumstances of the condition of his release, the legal standard to consider modifications to bond conditions. But the judge disagreed.
And Blaze Taylor, a former defensive back at Arkansas State and NFL scout for the Tennessee Titans, was found guilty of murdering his girlfriend and unborn child Wednesday in Nashville, Tennessee. The jury recommended a sentence of life in prison for Taylor, who will be formally sentenced September 9th. Taylor, who was arrested in 2024, was accused of poisoning his girlfriend, uh, her, I guess, lemonade, with cocaine in February 2023. She died March 6th of 2023 on her 25th birthday, and her 5-month-old fetus, which Taylor is believed to have fathered, died on February 27th, 2023. Wait, so he supposedly poisoned her in February. The baby died in February, and then she died in March?
Yeah,
Okay, March 6th. Okay, so it wasn't like
it
that
wasn't
much later.
super far apart. Yeah, it was
Okay,
like
gotcha.
a week and a half, maybe.
And it says that she was rushed to the hospital February 25th of 2023, saying, and apparently Taylor called 911 saying she had an allergic reaction. And then it's Taylor was found guilty of 4 counts, 1 count of second-degree murder, 1 count of first-degree murder for the unborn child, 1 count of first-degree felony murder, and then 1 count of first-degree felony murder of the child. So, yep, I think
Yeah.
his NFL days are done.
Well, they just said he's going to be sentenced for life,
Or
so
not
I would
even
say so.
NFL days, just life in general. Yeah, that's a very unfortunate situation though.
So this was big a little while back, and it became popular over the last week. So a former Olympian was indicted Thursday, not this Thursday, but the last Thursday, on a felony charge in what President Donald Trump has called vandalism of the reflecting pool. If you don't know what that is, it's in Washington, D.C. It's that big long pool.
The
Anyways,
big long pool.
I didn't know what else to call
What a
it.
great description.
If you've ever watched Forrest Gump, it's that.
And I've
Uh,
been there.
yeah, I've been there also.
I don't remember it looking dirty, but I wasn't really paying attention.
Yeah, I also drank out of it.
You did?
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I'd believe you.
David Hearn.
It would explain a lot.
David Hearn, a former Olympic canoe racer, was indicted on a single count of property destruction in Washington, D.C. court. He previously told the Associated Press that he reached into the pool to examine the newly peeled coating He said that he briefly touched a chunk that was still attached to the side of the pool, then let go shortly after a park worker told him to. So he owned a company that made composite materials used to build watercraft. He said he stopped by the pool during a 64-mile bike ride to, I guess, check it out. But he said he was detained by National Guard troops and park police for 5 hours before being released.
Yep.
And I don't know if
And I
there's
don't think he
much
was
more
the only
going
one.
into it.
I don't think he was the only one that got arrested, but obviously this is the only one that we know of that's sports related in some way.
Hmm.
Uh, okay. Next up, we have something I kind of have wanted to cover for a long time, which is esports. But I know that our audience wouldn't really be that into it. But with this being crime related, I was like, I have to cover this because this is a crazy story. So, at there's a there's a esports World Cup is going on right now, which is like a big esports event where teams from around the world play and they compete for like millions of dollars. It's all like Saudi Arabian owned, blah blah blah. A lot of controversy there. I'm not going to get into it. Anyways, so in a game in Paris between PRX, which is a team from Asia, versus NRG, a team from America, they were playing each other. And one of the coaches on PRX said, and I quote, "Someone came into the coach room during the match and ripped my backpack open trying to steal all of my keychains, and they got ripped off." And then he said, "There also was a period when the lights shut off in the room, uh, and he was pretty sure that's when someone uh, took their window." What? I don't know what that means.
What does
Oh,
that
okay.
mean?
I understand. It means like took their window of opportunity.
Uh,
And then he said, "Luckily, I have all my stuff. They seem to just be looking for money. And unfortunately, though, he lost stuff that his girlfriend bought him." So this appears to be a targeted thing. Like they went in, turned off the lights, and like stole and attempted to steal stuff.
that's crazy, especially for a smaller thing like the esports.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't know. It's
Where are the
it's
games
just.
at in Paris?
Yeah, this game was in Paris. I think they're happening all over.
Yeah, that's crazy. So many of you may know this guy. His name's Lamar Odom. He is expected to enter a plea deal in a DUI case in Las Vegas. Uh, he was arrested January 17th and later charged with driving under the influence, speeding, and failure to stay in a driving lane, and he pled not guilty in March. Odom plans to enter a no contest plea that will reduce his initial DUI charge to reckless driving charge, according to his attorney. Through a no contest plea, Odom will accept the terms of the Clark County District Attorney's Office without admitting guilt. He was scheduled for a bench trial Tuesday in Las Vegas, but the court hearing was continued for a plea entry later this month. He is not expected to appear in person. So on January 17th, a Nevada State Police officer observed Odom speeding along a Las Vegas highway and switching lanes without a turn signal. When he pulled him over, Odom allegedly had bloodshot eyes and smelled of marijuana. Um, and then Odom denied drinking alcohol and told the reporter that the passenger was smoking marijuana. According to the report, the trooper found the field sobriety test unsatisfactory, saying Odom failed to touch the tip of his nose with his finger and lost his balance.
And former Miami Heat guard Terry Rozier wants to play in the NBA while he fights sports gambling charges that sidelined him last season. Bail conditions that bar him from contact with certain players and limit his travel could complicate his potential return. So yeah, we've been kind of talking about this gambling stuff for a bit. Kind of crazy to me that he wants to return with all this stuff happening. I'm surprised the NBA would even be willing to allow it. I don't know if they are even. But apparently he's allowed to potentially practice and stuff with potential witnesses as long as they don't talk about the case.
Yeah, because he was recently, uh, I guess, I don't want to say sued, but he was like given a fine for talking to a person with that was on the no contact list. So I guess we'll see if he joins a team or not. And then this came out, I think today,
Yeah,
or
I
maybe
this caught
yesterday.
me so off guard.
So Stefan Diggs has been fighting some sexual assault allegations from everybody for a while, but this one comes from a male named Christopher Griffith, who has submitted more than 100 pages of text messages and Instagram DMs as evidence to support his claims. So, according to the court, Griffith says the messages help back his allegations that he was sexually assaulted at Stefan Diggs' home. Diggs previously argued that Griffith failed to provide Instagram messages, but Griffith says Diggs already had access to them and only lost access after being blocked. Diggs has sued Griffith for defamation and accusing him of making false claims, while Griffith has countersued, alleging he was drugged and sexually assaulted.
And if you remember, Diggs got sued earlier this year for what was it? Something to do with his chef.
Yeah, his chef. I think she tried to claim she was sexually
No, I
assaulted,
don't think I think it was something else. I think it was
or he hit
he
her or
like hit her or
something.
something, but he actually won
Yeah,
that case. So it'll be interesting to see if he can win this case as well.
it
But this
kind
is
of makes me wonder if these cases are true and he's just finding a way to win.
so now we're gonna move on to the college football segment. So 92% of blue chip recruits, which are 4 and 5 stars, have already committed this year. And then for 19 straight years, Alabama has signed a composite top 5 class. And that streak ends this year, and there's a possibility that Alabama doesn't even finish in the top 25. Um, yeah, I've seen this kind of for the last couple of months or so that Alabama recruiting has been terrible, and there's a lot of reasons behind that. Staff changes, kind of bad results and stuff. But regardless, I I'm still shocked because they're still like a, very popular school and stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy that they only have one 5 star. Normally, they're the team that has at least five stars.
I honestly just feel like this cements Georgia as being the best SEC team now for a bit. Well, I guess Texas has a chance, but
Ole Miss is pretty good right now too.
that's true.
So we're gonna move into a bunch of new uniforms, but first off, the Big 12 and Monster Energy have entered a multi-year sponsorship agreement, which means the schools will have jersey patches and field logos featuring the brand.
And I think
Which we talked about how teams can wear up to two patches. So for teams in the Big 12, there's two. I forget who they are, but they already have sponsorships with companies,
I
so
believe
they'll get to wear
BYU,
two patches.
I believe BYU has a Monster Energy Zero Sugar sponsorship patch.
Oh, really? So they're gonna
And
have two monster patches?
and I have to say, I don't really like this change. It kind of makes the jerseys way more ugly, but I
It's
get it.
definitely
I
weird.
get
It's like
why.
NBA now
It's
because the
money.
NFL doesn't have it yet. Yeah.
Almost every bad decision in sports nowadays is because of money. And also in other news, there's been multiple major universities switching their uniform providers. So South Carolina is switching to Nike. What were they before? Adidas?
Under Armour,
Under Armour? Uh, who's that?
Penn State.
Penn State is switching to Adidas, which I saw a lot of people flaming online. They were like, these shoes are so ugly. Uh, Tennessee is switching to Adidas. Rice State. Is that who that is?
No, that's just Rice.
Oh, just Rice. Is Rice State a thing?
I don't think so.
Anyways,
Maybe in lower,
Rice is switching to Nike, and then Georgia Tech is switching to Under Armour.
which we'll talk more about these designs, except for Rice, because they haven't released their new uniforms yet.
Yeah.
So, Wisconsin announced Culver's as the first ever jersey patch sponsorship for football, men's basketball, and men's hockey. So, the other ones were just for men's football, I believe, or the individual sports, but this one is across all their men's sports,
I will
which
say, on their
kind of
basketball
looks weird.
jersey, on their basketball jersey, it looks kind of okay because I'm kind of used to it with the NBA.
Yeah.
But the
The
other
NFL,
two jerseys, I
yeah.
think look terrible.
I like the basketball one the best, like you said, just because it's normalized in basketball.
Well, and I think something to do with the shape of the jersey makes it work a bit better too.
Hmm. I wouldn't be surprised if the NFL does this soon.
Yeah. And then they also got new jerseys, right?
Yeah, they got new jerseys just for one game this year.
And what are these called? Is there like a special name to them?
The Lambeau unis, because they're playing in Lambeau Field, because they have like a joint history from being in Wisconsin.
Oh, gotcha. So yeah, it's kind of like a full red uniform with anything that has like normally would be like white, so like the logo, the numbers, the stripes is just like a shiny silver.
Hmm.
It's okay.
I feel like it'd be better if the jersey didn't have the shiny silver and just the helmet did, because I like the helmet,
Yeah, I like the helmet. I
but
don't think it looks great, but maybe it's just the lighting. I bet outdoors it will look a little bit better.
this will be worn week one against Notre Dame,
Yeah. And
which
speaking of Notre Dame, they're also wearing special jerseys that game. They're wearing Shamrock series uniforms, I guess is what it's called. Um, yeah, I think you can't really go wrong with any Notre Dame uniform. They keep it fairly simple usually, and gold almost always looks good. So I think they look
I
fine.
do I do like that a lot of teams are adding the American flag patch for this year.
Yeah, the gold American
But
flag on their jersey goes kind of hard, not gonna lie.
yeah, it looks really good. Unlike that silver one, although it's more of a white for Wisconsin.
Yeah, and then UTEP, University of what are they actually? Tennessee something?
I'll look it up real quick. I knew it at one time.
Okay. Anyways, UTEP is rebranding. They went from their an old logo to a new logo. It's the best way I can describe it is kind of like a modern looking like miner with a pickaxe. I don't really like it to be honest. I don't necessarily like their old logo, but this just feels so like generic and again unnecessary modernization. I've been talking about this a ton with rebranding. I don't know why people love to make everything look like modern and bland. It's so gross. Like why are we doing this?
So it's the University of Texas at El Paso.
Oh, it's tech. Okay, I was a little bit off, but okay. And
I
they
do
also got
like
new jerseys.
their uniforms. They don't look much different, but I do like them.
Yeah, they're not bad. Not really great colors. It's kind of hard to make that look good. It's kind of like the Browns. How do you make the
Yeah.
Browns look good? If you're gonna like make yourself those colors and the name the Browns, you've kind of put yourself in a hole.
And then Tennessee signed with Adidas, like we mentioned earlier, from Nike. And their uniforms look basically the same, except for they're more see through, which is really what Adidas is. You can see through their jerseys a little more.
Okay, I never knew that was a thing. I actually think the Adidas logo looks pretty good here.
I've just never really been a fan of the Adidas uniforms because they look out of date,
Okay.
in my opinion.
I don't really have an issue with this. I'd have to see their old jerseys to really know for sure, but I'm also kind of an Adidas fan, but more for like soccer. And then New Mexico State got new alternate jerseys, switching from Under Armour to Adidas. It looks pretty good. Kind of reminds me of Ball State.
Yeah, a little bit. I do like that black uniform. I was looking them up to see if they had any other alternate, and they had like a baby blue, which isn't really their color scheme, but it looked really cool. Moving on to South Carolina, like we talked about earlier, they converted to Nike from Under Armour, and they haven't released the uniforms yet, but Fanatics has it on their website, which is kind of weird that they haven't released it, but Fanatics has.
I'm guessing these are
So,
just generic jerseys. I kind of doubt this is what they're gonna go for.
well, that black one is one that I did see. That's the only release uniform they have. They don't have a home or away uniform released yet.
Okay, gotcha. So these could be real. I will say though, this design, if this is what they're gonna go for all their jerseys, it looks to me like some sort of alternate, like either Cardinals or um, Falcons jersey.
49ers. Oh, yeah, Falcons.
It kind of has like an old school modern mix to it, and I actually kind of like them. I don't know if it fits kind of like a college team per se, but I do like them as a general statement. I don't know if I like them as a college jersey though.
Well, these are actually basically the same as the other ones, just with the Nike
Oh,
switch
really?
around.
I guess I just haven't paid attention.
And then, like we mentioned earlier, Georgia Tech converts from Adidas to Under Armour, and these uniforms look clean in my opinion.
It reminds me of Army.
Hmm.
Yeah, I like them. And Georgia Tech has been kind of on the rise lately. Although it seems like every year for the past couple years they start off hot and then finish the season kind of bad.
Yeah,
And they've played a
that's.
lot of overseas games too, haven't they?
I don't know how many they played.
I want to say at least two in the last couple years. And then Penn State converted from Nike to Adidas. Their new jerseys, I believe, are the same, right? Just with the new logo.
They're, they're basically the same.
They're just so
Really.
plain and bland.
Hmm. I remember seeing a story that they actually used to be pink and white, and then their color faded to like a blue.
Hmm.
That's when they kept it blue.
And then West Virginia got a new gloss helmet. I don't remember what their old one looks like, but I think this looks fine.
I think this is like an alternate helmet.
Yeah, and they got the state of West Virginia on it. Honestly,
Yeah, I like this
not the
helmet.
prettiest state. I feel like you can only get away with putting your state on a helmet if it's a good shape.
I've always been a fan, or since they started doing it, of like the metallic or glossy helmets, just because they stand out.
I like matte helmets.
I like them. Those are all right. I just think the standard helmets aren't it. Like I like the matte black ones and stuff like that. I just don't
To
like the
me,
standard ones
I
as
don't
much.
care about the finish as much as I do the color scheme.
Mhm.
You give me matte or gloss in a great color scheme, that's fine with me.
And then moving on to our NFL segment, arguably the biggest news of the week. Travis Kelsey and Taylor Swift got married on July 3rd at Madison Square Garden, and Adam Sandler officiated this under allegations, or I guess
Allegations.
rumors. Rumors.
Not even rumors, we have leaked pictures.
Oh, are there leaked pictures? I haven't seen any pictures of it
Yeah,
yet.
and I heard that some of the players that play like are teammates of Travis Kelsey kind of were trash talking the wedding.
Well, I saw Harrison Butker wasn't even invited.
It was like a super private wedding, but they had like tons of cops outside. It was a whole thing.
I also saw that they shut down, like some of the residents lost power because of this wedding.
Jeez.
Like 1,000 customers in the area were without power. That's how many people lost power, is what I heard.
And we have to shout out the Seahawks legend. Uh, Bobby Wagner is on the verge of making NFL history. After recording 162 tackles last season, he now sits at exactly 2,000 career tackles, which is 60 away from passing Ray Lewis for first all time in career tackles. So he's in third place currently behind London Fletcher and then Ray Lewis in first. At his current pace, he could have the record before mid-season.
Yeah, that's crazy how dominant he's been. And kind of underrated too. People always think of used to always think about Fred Warner in our division over Bobby Wagner, even though
Well, you know,
Bobby Wagner was.
I think part of that is it's he's not like a super flashy player like Ray Lewis was, you know what I mean? He
Mhm.
gets the job done and he knows exactly what he needs to do in the moment, but he's not, I wouldn't say he's like a highlight reel, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Mind you, he's also playing with people like Richard Sherman and stuff like that. That's going to take the spotlight to some extent, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So, yeah, I get it. But would you say he's a Hall of Fame lock for sure?
I would say so. I mean, he's about to break the career tackles record, and
He has
he's
Super
been
Bowl
an all
wins.
around great winner or a great player, that
How
winner.
many does he have two Super Bowl wins?
Just one.
Did he not win with the Rams?
No, I think he was on the Seahawks when the Rams won.
Okay, I couldn't remember when he went to the Rams.
Hang on, let me see. When? I think he just went to the Rams.
Either way, I feel like NFL is not as hard to get into the Hall of Fame as maybe the NBA. Like you can get away with not having a Super Bowl win. I feel like the NBA is kind of strict, but sometimes not. I don't
He
know.
went to the
It just
Rams in
varies.
2022, and then the team released him in 2023.
So he has one Super Bowl.
How
I don't
many?
remember what years the Rams won the Super Bowl, to be honest.
He has one. So yeah.
Okay.
And then our last bit of NFL news. Speaking of Commanders players, on Sunday, November 8th, Washington will retire John Riggins, number 44, against the Rams. Now, I
I
don't
don't
know
know if I
John
know who that
Riggins,
is.
but he must have been a good player for them to retire his jersey.
Yeah. And moving on to the NBA segment. The NBA will test the one free throw rule and a connected basketball with an embedded sensor at this month's Summer League in North Carolina, Salt Lake City, and Las Vegas. The one free throw rule will award one free throw for any foul that would typically result in one, two, or three free throws under standard NBA rules. That free throw attempt will be worth the same total number of points as the free throw it replaces, and this will take place until the final 2 minutes of the fourth quarter and throughout overtime when standard NBA free throw rules will apply. This rule has been used in the G League since 2019 to improve game flow, and I believe I saw it saves like I want to say 5 to 10 minutes, maybe 5 actually on the lower end. So yeah, what's your thoughts on this? I hate it.
It's definitely a weird change, but if they think it's going to better them, I guess go for it. But I don't know.
I don't feel like
Like
it
you said, it's
saves
only
enough
5 minutes.
time, and it also makes free throw averages kind of weird. I feel like, cause let's say you take two free throws in a game, right? And by two free
Yeah.
throws, I mean two attempts of like two, so four total, right? If you make two of them, then you shot 50% for the game. So that'd be 2 for 4. Now let's say you shot like one free throw the entire game and you miss. Now what? You're sitting at 0%. because of one shot. Maybe that was a bad
Right.
example, but I still feel like it will mess up averages somehow.
That and it'll screw with the history books.
And yeah, that too. I hate any rule that potentially affects history because then it's really hard to compare people. Um, I I I get that they allow it for like the last 2 minutes of the game or whatever in the fourth quarter, but I feel like 3 minutes, 4 minutes into the fourth quarter is still a very intense moment. You know what I mean? And I love, especially in the playoffs, when you get someone on the line and they miss a shot, but they make the second, or they miss the second, make the first. You know what I mean? It creates an intense situation. I feel like this, to some extent, takes that away. I mean, yeah, if you miss, then it's like a bigger deal because you missed 2 points. So it still is intense, but I feel like there's a difference from missing 1 out of 2 than missing 1 out of 1. I don't know. I think statistically it doesn't technically change things that much. But yeah, I
And
hate it.
then speaking on the ball thing, it's supposed to provide data such as last touch out of bounds calls, and they're also saying this will support future officiating applications.
Which is
And the
funny,
censor does not
I think
what
they're doing this to make people not hate on refs as much. But
probably.
but this is what soccer's doing with VAR, and people hate it. They're like, you're so strict with the rules now that you're causing people to get fouls and stuff that they otherwise wouldn't have called. But I feel like that's a bad argument because it only matters if it's against the team you like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it goes both ways. It's like, oh, I hate VAR, but like, oh wait, I also kind of like it when it goes against the other team. So I have a feeling fans are gonna complain about this if this ends up, being a situation where they have this like insane tech that like, oh, LeBron's pinky finger barely grazed the ball, so now the other team gets the ball.
Hmm.
But I guess we'll see. I, it's weird. I'm in a weird middle ground where I like the inclusion of technology because it makes the game more fair. But to be quite honest, making a game fair is not necessarily always good. Because if you like play everything by the book and use all this technology to evaluate every possible foul and stuff, not only does it possibly slow down the game, it kind of just makes things feel kind of bland. It's almost we talked about this with the pitch what is it, challenging in baseball,
Hmm.
where there is sort of a fun aspect of umpires being slightly wrong. You know what I mean? It creates uniqueness to each game. Now, obviously, you don't want them to miss, you know, 10 calls in a game, but, one or two here or there is not bad. And Kyle Lowry is expected to sign a 1-day contract with the
Well,
Raptors to retire.
he already did sign a 1 day contract and
Oh,
retired. That was the other day.
so he's officially retired now?
Yeah.
Wow.
I believe that was yesterday, but I'm not 100% sure. It could have been Wednesday.
Yeah. Honestly, pretty underrated player.
End of an era. And speaking of an era, the Los Angeles Lakers officially plan to retire both of LeBron James' jersey numbers, number 23 and number 6, into the Raptors of Crypto.com arena. It will become only the second player in franchise history to have two numbers retired, joining Kobe Bryant.
Well, I saw some people even debating if he should have had his jerseys retired
At the end of the day, I think it will be like Jordan, where
on the
he'll get
Wizards.
his numbers retired from every team he played for.
Yeah. There is an argument there for like him being so great that he should have it retired no matter what. but he did only win one championship, and it was during the COVID season that many people kind of consider a not legitimate championship. I still don't
So,
know what I consider it, to be honest. I go back and forth.
so is Jordan's number retired by the Wizards or no?
I think it is.
'Cause I
I'll look
can't
I'll
remember.
look it up. You can continue to the next thing.
So speaking of jersey retirements, Milwaukee Bucks ownership has confirmed that Giannis's number 34 jersey will be retired by the organization. And speaking of Giannis, there was also news that came out that he's going to be number 7 for the Heat because number 34 is obviously retired. Um, so other players who got their jersey retired while still playing are Julius Erving, which was in the 1987 year when he was on the team that retired his jersey was the Nets. Michael Jordan in the 2003 season, where the Heat retired his jersey, even though he never played for it, which was kind of an odd thing. And then Giannis, obviously, in the 2026 year for the Bucks.
Yeah, so Michael Jordan's jersey is not retired for the Wizards. However, no one has used it since he's played. So I don't know if they're kind of controlling that or if it's just out of
Maybe it's just a
respect
respect.
from the
Yeah.
players. I don't know.
Maybe LeBron will go and finish on the Wizards and wear number 23. And he'll get to play with AD again.
Oh, I think I found a way to turn up the mic.
Timothy, if you're still here, we are fulfilling your request potentially.
Well, yeah, you keep going and I'll.
So Jalen Brunson is undergoing surgery on his left wrist and is expected to return to basketball activities later this summer. And then we also had the group draw results that came out earlier this week, with West Group A being the Nuggets, Rockets, Suns, Mavericks, and the Jazz. West B being the Thunder, Timberwolves, Clippers, Pelicans, and Grizzlies. West Group C is the Spurs, Lakers, Trailblazers, Warriors, and Kings. Then moving over to the East A is the Pistons, Raptors, Magic, Bucks, and Nets. East B is the Knicks, Cavs, 76ers, Heat, and the Pacers. And then East C is the Celtics, Hawks, Hornets, Bulls, and the Wizards. And this tournament tips on October 30th.
Which I gotta say, um, West C and East B is kind of stacked.
Yeah.
And I
Uh,
think OKC has a fairly easy group in West B.
besides the Timberwolves. And potentially the Clippers if that Kawhi trade doesn't go through, which we'll talk about in a little bit.
Yeah. And then Darren Peterson, who I believe is a rookie, had 9 personal fouls in his Las Vegas Summer League debut. The reason he has this is because there's a 10 foul max limit in the Summer League. And so, if it's in there, you got to take advantage of it.
Yeah. That's crazy that they have a 10 foul max limit in the summer league.
I mean, I kind of get why because they want to give them playing time and stuff.
Yeah. And then earlier today, like 2 hours ago, I think, Bam Adebayo Hero got into a physical altercation in Las Vegas on Friday, which is today. I don't know why I said Friday, in which Adebayo struck Hero, which is kind of weird to me, considering I thought Tyler Hero got traded to the Bucks. But so it occurred at a practice court in Las Vegas, in a hotel that morning. And it started with Bam Adebayo approaching Tyler Hero about comments that he made critiquing the center on social media after his 7 year run with him ended.
Yeah, and I
So,
saw an interview with him. I didn't get a chance to listen to all of it, but he was saying something along the lines of like he still gets along well with the staff. Um, so I don't think that was an issue at all. It just seems like him and Bam are going at it for some reason.
Almost like a Draymond Green and Jordan Poole thing going on here.
Yeah, it's a little different though because they're not on the same team still, right?
Yeah, technically Tyler Hero's gone. I don't know why they were in the same practice facility though.
And the Boston Celtics have agreed to trade Jaylen Brown to the Philadelphia 76ers for Paul George, two first-round picks, a 2028 and 2031, and two second-round picks, a 2028 and 2030. This is kind of a big trade. People were not really sure if Jaylen Brown was actually going to get traded, but he did end up getting traded. Um, kind of a bad trade for the Celtics, I would say.
Well, they did get two first round picks, two second round picks for just Jaylen Brown. Depending on
Yeah,
where those picks
it
land.
depends what they're going for. If they're going for a rebuild, then yeah, it's good. If they're going for short-term success, I don't think Paul George is it. I think it would
Yeah,
have
but
been better.
they
I
just
think
signed Mitchell Robinson.
they could have probably gotten someone decent in another like first round pick or something. But we were talking, I think this is more first round picks than the Luca trade, right?
Yeah.
Kind of puts into perspective how bad of a trade that was.
And what's crazy is Paul George is just building championship teams. Wherever he goes, he's giving the other team the championship.
Well, this is also good for hoop grids because we can just add Paul George to any team now almost.
And then the
My brother
Grizzlies,
said it's a bad trade, but that's the price you pay for missing on Giannis.
yeah, that's true.
True.
The Grizzlies traded Santai Aldama to the Dallas Mavericks for AJ Johnson, a protected 2030 Warriors first round pick, and two future second round picks. The Mavericks also acquired the draft rights to Tarek Bieberovic. The Warriors pick in 2030 is protected between 1 and 20 and then turns into a second if not conveyed.
And this is not really related, but I just have to say before I forget, Yaxel Landenberg is looking really good in the summer league for the Warriors.
Definitely not related to that trade.
Well, it said Warriors. So,
Okay. Minorly related.
and the Houston Rockets are trading Dorian Finney-Smith and three second-round picks to the Charlotte Hornets.
And the Los Angeles Lakers, shortly after re signing him, are trading DeAndre Ayton to the Wizards for Jaden Hardy and two Wizards second round picks in 2031 and 2032.
Man, this Lakers team is weird. I know they're rebuilding, but it's still weird. They got rid of Rui too. Can't believe that.
Well, they didn't get rid of him. He signed with the Clippers,
Oh, gotcha.
which we'll talk about in a little bit.
And the Detroit Pistons are trading Karis LeVert and two second-round picks to the Bucks for Taurean Prince and Gary Harris.
And then, as part of an elaborate six-team trade, which I did not know was possible, I thought three teams was the max you could go. The Washington Wizards are sending D'Angelo Russell, Chris Middleton, uh, D'Angelo Russell, and Chris Middleton has agreed to a 3-year, $17.6 million deal with the Wizards via a sign and trade, and a future second round pick and a future second round pick swap to the Grizzlies.
So who are the six teams involved?
I believe, let me look it up. I believe it was the Grizzlies, Wizards, Warriors. Mavericks, Wizards, Pistons, Clippers, Bucks, and Grizzlies. So they also involved Karis LeVert, John Collins, and Santi Aldama.
Hmm. Okay.
So, so some of the guys we mentioned earlier, they decided
And
on.
yeah, and we mentioned this earlier, but here's the official statement from the Raptors regarding the Kawhi Leonard trade. Uh, the NBA League office informed the Raptors that as a result of the ongoing investigation involving the Clippers, uh, the Raptors would assume the risk of any potential outcome of the investigation impacting Kawhi. They said, in light of this, we will wait until the league's investigation is complete, and the Raptors remain eager to bring Kawhi back to Toronto and look forward to a swift resolution with our players, organization, and fans. I think that the end of this will probably be like a fine and something. I don't anticipate any crazy trades. Like some people thought Shea was going to have to go back to the Clippers, which is honestly just a reward to them, weirdly, instead of a punishment. But I don't anticipate anything like that happening. But I guess we'll have to see.
And then speaking of Shea, or I don't know if we even mentioned Shea, but
I did.
we mentioned the Clippers. But this is kind of a breakdown so far of the full roster that was traded for Paul George. So Shea Gilgeous-Alexander was traded to the Clippers, or traded from the Clippers, obviously, to the Thunder, with sending PG to the Clippers. The Jaylen Brown trade that just happened recently, Jalen Williams, which was a 2022 pick, so he wasn't really a player yet. Victor Oladipo, Domantas Sabonis, Danilo Gallinari, Cason Wallace, which was another pick, Trey Mann, another pick, Nikola Topic, Thomas Sorber, and Adai Mara, which were all picks. So, which raises the question: is Paul George the most valuable player in NBA history in terms of trading? Because on top of
He just
those
has a
other
good agent.
players, it's 7 first-round picks were traded for him in total, and 2 second-round picks.
Yeah. And I did see that Victor Oladipo is looking to make an NBA comeback. I believe he's been playing in the G League.
Yeah, I really liked watching him play. It's sad to see how far he's fallen since Orlando.
Yeah, Prime Oladipo
And
was fun to watch, but he had a
and
quick fall off.
he wasn't too bad on the Pacers for like that first year, but it was sad to see him fall off because I liked it. The main reason I liked him was because my cousin liked the Magic, but still sad to see him fall off.
And we're gonna go through the signings that happened over this past couple weeks, or I guess the week. So Jonathan Isaac is re-signing a one-year deal with the Magic. Underrated player in my opinion, never really got the chance to shine, although he did have injury issues.
Yeah, I believe the Magic actually released him in the last episode.
I don't remember reporting that, but you might be right.
Marvin Bagley III has agreed to a 1 year deal with the Nuggets.
Anthony Simmons has agreed to a 2-year, $12.3 million deal with the 76ers with a player option in the second season.
Kyle Anderson has agreed to a 1 year, $3.9 million deal with the Raptors.
Tyus Jones has agreed to a 1-year deal to return to the Nuggets.
Pat Spencer, I know you may be a little upset about this because I believe he's on the Warriors, has agreed to be a two-way NBA player with the Suns.
Yeah, I wasn't as upset as I thought it would be, but he was one of those guys that he's maybe not like an amazing player, but he gives you 100% effort when he's on the court, and you love to have a player like that on a team. Terry Eason has agreed to a 5-year, $81.5 million deal to the Rockets. That's a lot of money, although it is 5 years.
Well, if you break that down,
Okay.
That's about 15 a year. I don't know. I didn't specialize in math, but we'll say that's about 15 a year. Probably about 13.
I
Anyways,
don't think I ever had a math class with you.
I don't think so.
That's because you were in the special classroom, right?
No, I wasn't in the special classroom. So, Nemius Queta, no idea who that is, but he signed a 4-year deal with the Celtics.
Extension, actually. And Javante Green has agreed to a 1-year, $3.95 million deal to return to the Pistons.
76ers have agreed to sign a French guard by the name of Ryan Rupert on a 2-way contract.
Caleb Love has agreed to a 2-year NBA deal with the 76ers. Did I say
Jordan Miller,
2-year?
I think he did.
I meant 2-way NBA deal.
Jordan Miller has agreed to sign with the Clippers on a 3-year, $15.3 million deal.
Josh Okogie has agreed to a 2-year, $12 million deal with the Jazz.
Andre Drummond has signed a 1-year, $3.9 million deal with the Knicks.
Kind of crazy he's still in the league,
Yeah,
but it's cool to see. Quentin Post is signing a 3-year, $30 million contract offer sheet with the Grizzlies. Another big loss for the Warriors.
yeah, I saw they didn't sign him, and they had the opportunity to.
Yeah, I mean, he's not like the greatest player in the world, but he wasn't bad. I think we're just making up uh, space for like LeBron and stuff, although it sounds like that might not even happen. So we're just freeing up all this space for what? I'm anticipating some sort of Jimmy Butler trade probably mid-season.
Maybe debatable, but in my opinion, a decent loss for the Lakers. Rui Hachimura, like we said earlier,
Oh no, he's a
agreed
great
to
player.
sign a 2-year, $28 million deal with the Clippers.
He's definitely a great player.
Mm-hmm.
And Kobe Bree is signing a 2-way NBA contract to return to the Suns.
Donovan Mitchell has agreed to a 4-year, $273 million max contract extension with a player option in the fourth season with the Cavs.
Money, money, money. And Kevon Looney has agreed to a 1-year, $3.9 million deal with the Lakers. Well, there you go. The Lakers are saved.
The Lakers are saved by Kevon Looney.
Hey, he has more championships than probably anyone on that Lakers roster.
Yeah, you're right. Larry Nance Jr. has agreed to a 1-year, $4 million deal with the Pacers.
Mo Bamba has agreed to a 2-year deal to return to the Jazz.
If you don't know, Mo Bamba has a song after him.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Out of all the NBA players, he's one of the few with a song
Yeah.
name.
And he had a song before he was in the league. That's
That was
crazy.
before he was in the league.
Yeah,
He was kind of hyped going into the NBA, though, I feel like, wasn't he?
a little bit. But I don't think he went very high in the draft. I don't remember.
And Jordan Clarkson has agreed to a 1-year, $3.9 million deal to return to the New York Knicks.
The Warriors and Charles Bassey has agreed to a 1-year deal.
Victor Wembanyama signed a 5-year, $252 million max contract. He decided on the 25% max instead of the 30% supermax, which was $303 million. Taking one for the team.
Yep. He's trying to help the team out to sign better players, maybe shooting for LeBron.
And honestly, they don't got a lot to sign to make that team better. They have pretty good roster, young roster.
And longtime NBA coach Steve Clifford is joining the Wizards as a coach advisor.
You know, the Spurs should get rid of the Aaron Fox. I just had to throw that out there. Patrick Ewing has agreed to become an assistant coach for the Wizards. It's cool to see. It's always cool to see legacy players come back, although a lot of the times they don't always turn out to be very good coaches.
And then Suns and the Phoenix Suns and Phoenix Mercury CEO Josh Bartelstein is finalizing a new extension.
And Billy Donovan has agreed to become the lead assistant coach for the Spurs.
So the Spurs might win a championship next year. Former ESPN senior NBA writer Tim Bontemps has been hired for a front office role with the Atlanta Hawks and will be a strategic advisor for them.
Why? What has Billy Donovan done that makes you think they're going to win a championship?
He's the coach of the Thunder.
Was
Yeah,
Are you sure?
yeah, he's been a coach of the Thunder.
Because when I look him up, I just see him in a Burrs, a Bulls jersey. Oh, yep, he was the Thunder coach. But I think he was the Thunder coach before they won a championship. Like with Russ, maybe?
Yeah, but he still took them to the Western Conference Finals in his first year.
Well, they went to the championship without him and didn't win. I like how we're arguing over a random guy. Anyways, the Denver Nuggets are waiving Jonas Valanciunas, who is expected to receive interest from multiple NBA teams.
And the Kings waived DeMar DeRozan, making him a free agent.
And this is not NBA related, but I saw that the one of the Seahawks frontrunners to sign the team is, I think, a minority owner of the 49ers.
How is that even possible?
Uh, well, I don't think he's not like a owner. I think he's more like a in terms of percentage of stocks or whatever. I don't know. I didn't read into it too much, but I just feel like that's weird that you're potentially signing like rival teams. I mean, technically, the Seahawks rivals is the Cardinals, right?
Rams.
Huh?
The Rams.
Are you sure? I think I looked it up one time and it's the Cardinals.
No, they wore their rivalry jerseys against the Rams.
Oh. Either way, let's be real. It's the 49ers. Actually, although in recent years it's kind of becoming the Rams.
I think during the Legion of Boom days, it was the 49ers, but it's kind of transitioning.
Yeah, our rivals is just whoever's good.
Yeah.
But to be honest, our division's been pretty consistently good, so except the Cardinals.
There was one year the Cardinals were good and everybody else was.
That's true.
That was a while back, but it happened when Kyler Murray was like in his second year.
Was Larry Fitzgerald still on the team?
I believe so, yeah.
Hmm. And moving on to the last segment of the day, miscellaneous segment. Big news this 4th of July weekend. Joey Chestnut has won his 18th career hot dog eating contest title. This is more than I believe Tom Brady, Michael Jordan, LeBron, and maybe someone else combined.
That's more than Bill Russell.
Oh, it's been more than Bill Russell.
That's more than Bill Russell and Michael Jordan combined.
So, who's really the GOAT of sports? You decide.
Joey
He also
Chestnut
had
is
a
my goat.
he had a ESPN 30 for 30 documentary about his prep for this. He was like training his jaw and stuff. It's crazy. I saw someone commented like, why is this guy getting um time taken when there's a bunch of people that deserve it? They must not know the GOAT.
Yeah, they must not know because I can only eat like 3 hot dogs, and this guy can eat
Oh, come
60 of them.
on. You can eat more than 3.
Okay, I could probably eat more than 3, but not in the amount of time that he
How
eats.
long is it? Is it like 10 minutes?
I don't remember how many
I think
minutes
he
it
ate
is.
66 this year, which is pretty good, but not anywhere close to his record.
I'll look it up.
You look it up, and we'll have to set up an IRL video of us doing it.
So we can choke on it.
I think it'd be fun.
How many minutes does a hot dog eating contest on the 4th of July take? 10 minutes.
Okay, that's what I thought. I bet I
10
could
minutes.
do.
And so that's about 6.6 hot dogs a minute.
I bet I could do at least 18 if
I
I
think you can do
if I
18.
prep. I don't know if they like
Now,
don't eat beforehand or what. I don't know like what the strategy is.
we're actually about to go out and buy 50 hot dogs.
Okay, let me clarify. I could eat 18, but it's not gonna stay down.
That doesn't count then if they come back up.
Well, if the time's over, I think it does.
It'll be like that one guy that gets Badlands Chugs
Yeah.
every year.
Anyways, what's next?
Brianna Stewart won the Commissioner's Cup MVP for the WNBA. She is the first player to earn the honor twice. She won in 2021 and, of course, this year. Her stats for the season 25 points, 11 rebounds on 9 or 16 field goals made.
Is the Commissioner Cup like the Emirates Cup, like a mid-season thing?
I think so.
So they had this earlier than the NBA had it?
Yeah.
Probably a way to test it out and try to improve viewership, but that's cool. And Aroldis Chapman is now the all-time strikeout king among relievers. He has 1,364 strikeouts in his career as a reliever pitcher. And the New York Yankees made history, striking out 17 times in consecutive games. I just realized those don't go together.
They look like
The
they do.
pictures look like they do. Anyways,
But
I've seen Chapman in person. Crazy, crazy fast guy.
but Yankees on the wrong side of history.
Can we just talk about the third place guy's name for a second?
Goosage.
Is it Goose's or Gasage?
I don't know.
Yo, this guy had a crazy handlebar mustache.
Who Goose?
Yeah,
I'm gonna look him up.
he kind of looks like Matthew Stafford. Kinda, like in the eyes. I don't know. At least the picture I'm looking at. Not every picture does. Anyways, moving on. All-Star Future Games in Sunday. Oh, so, I don't know what I'm saying. The All-Star Futures game is Sunday, July 12th. The Home Run Derby is Monday, July 13th, and the All-Star Game is Tuesday, July 14th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And also, Buckeye alum Dylan Dingler became the first Buckeye All-Star selection since 2010. And he's just the fourth Buckeye all time to be selected to an all-star team. And this is for what, baseball?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's a reserve.
I don't think Ohio State's known for their baseball really.
Mm-mm. He's a reserve for the. He plays for the Tigers, but he's a reserve on the American League.
Gotcha. And here is your American League starters for the All-Star game. Aaron Judge, Bobby Witt Jr., Junior Camaro, Mike Trout, Jordan Alvarez, Shea Langeliers, Vladimir Guerrera Jr., Brian Buxton. Gosh, this is so pixelated, I can barely read it.
Byron Buxton.
Ernie Clement. And then here's the reserves. Dylan Dingler. Kevin McGonigal. Cody Bellinger. Adley Roochman, Ben Rice. Riley Green. Travis Bazanda. Miguel Vargas. Yandy Diaz. Nick Kurtz. And Randy Arizorina. And then here's your pitchers. Brian Baker. Parker Messick. Cade Smith. Dylan Cease. Drew Masmussen, Ranger Suarez, Aroldis Chapman, Joe Ryan, Luis Varland, Jacob Latz, Cam Schlittler, and
I thought
Michael
you were about to say something else.
Wacha. I've already said two bad things today in this episode, so I had to be careful on that one.
And then the National League team is, for their starters, Juan Soto, C.J. Abrams, Freddie Freeman, Andy Pajes, Ozzy Albies, Shohei Ohtani, which is, oh, he's a designated hitter. I was going to say, it's weird that he's in the
Look at how many
starters. So,
LA people they got.
yeah, and they don't have Shohei as a pitcher. They have him as a designated hitter.
Well, that's probably because they have Yoshi as a pitcher.
Brandon Marsh, Max Muncy, Drake Baldwin. And then for the reserves, they have William Contreras, Sal Stewart, James Wood, Hunter Goodman, Corbin Carroll, Kyle Schwarber, Louis Reyes, Pete Crow Armstrong, Otto Lopez, Bryce Harper, Jordan Walker, Matt Olson. For pitchers, Chase Burns, Mason Miller, Christopher Sanchez, Johan Duran, Jacob Mizurowski, Paul Skeens, Rosel Iglesias, Eduardo Rodriguez, Logan Webb, Max Meyer, Chris Sale, and Yoshinobu Yamamoto.
The MVP of the World Series.
And then, and then for the home run derby, I did not include this in the stuff because I didn't think about it until now. So the home run derby participants are Bryce Harper, Kyle Schwarber, Junior Caminero, Jacques Caglianone, Ben Rice, Wilson Contreras, and Jordan Walker.
I was just thinking this might be one of our longest episodes for a while. I think it's about 2 hours.
Yeah, we're getting close.
And we're probably not going to edit it much because we're just going to drop the live stream. And speaking of which, it should be noted, we did mention this last week. Episodes might be coming out on Saturdays now because it might take a while to get the download of the live stream. Assuming I can download it. I haven't actually tested it.
Oh, jeez.
We're going to find out. Either way, that's all we have for you guys today. I was keeping track of the chat and I saw we had like 4 people come in and out. Although I think 2 of them might have been me because I had it on my phone and my computer. Either way, we had people dropping in and out, which is really great to see. I really enjoy being able to interact with the audience mid-show. And I think the plan is to continue to do this, assuming we can download the video. Like I said.
I do want to note from this, we did get another subscriber, I saw.
Oh. Well, thank you to whoever subscribed. I'll probably do some mic testing. I saw a way to increase the audio, but it sounds like it's increasing Nick's and mine at the same time, so I don't want your mic to be too loud. But that
Right.
might just mean we just adjust your actual mic down a bit. I don't know. We're mess with it. We might do like a test live stream in the next couple days or something.
I
Either
don't
way,
think it got louder on my end, but you might have got louder on your end.
so I was listening to the audio and it sounded like it made me a tiny bit louder. But you, I think, did get a bit loud. Like it was peaking a bit. So I don't know. We're just have to mess with it. Also, I think the plan is to eventually probably get cameras. I'm just broke, and I got a lot of other stuff I want to get. Anyways, thank you guys for tuning in. This was a blast, and you know what's coming up next, Nick? You know what to say, right?
Yep.
Keep your stick on the ice. I thought
Unlike.
you were gonna say it with me.
Oh, all right. Go again.
No, no, it's ruined. No, it's live, so
Oh,
we can't edit
well,
that out.
unlike the Vegas Golden Knights.
Anyway, we probably lost a subscriber now. That one guy was a Vegas Golden Knights fan. Oh
Imagine he
man.
was. We
Anyways,
apologize.
thank you guys, and we will see you guys later.